Hey, help. Have you ever opened your eyes in the middle of nowhere, barefoot, breathless, only to realize it was already too late? That there was no way back? My name is Josephine. I'm 29 and I've spent my entire life trying to stay in control. But that night, I don't know if I lost control or if I never had it at all. When I opened my eyes, everything was dark. But not the kind of darkness you're used to. Even the moonlight seemed too afraid to touch me. The cold I felt wasn't just from the night air. It was that deep kind of cold, the kind that comes from being truly alone. The wind whispered through the trees, breaking the stillness. My feet were bare, no socks, no shoes. The ground was damp beneath me. I was no longer in my tent, but I found myself held hours away from our camp. No path, no lights, just towering pine trees, mossy stones, and the breath of the night. I reached for my neck, but my necklace was gone, the one thing that made me feel safe. Am I awake? Or was this just another layer of sleepwalking? Because my mind felt alert, but my body still floated in dream. The forest floor gave way beneath my steps. Branches had scratched my skin, but I felt no pain. That numbness, was it part of the sleepwalking trance? Have you ever thought you were awake, only to realize you were still dreaming? Because this journey goes deeper than you think. The day we arrived at camp felt like a lifetime ago. Emily, Lisa, and I, 3 women running from city life, chasing stillness. We turned off our phones, we laughed, built a fire, roasted marshmallows, just girls being girls. I still remember Emily asking, "What if she sleepwalks tonight?" I laughed, but deep inside, I was scared, because I hadn't sleepwalked since I was 10. And lately, it had returned, silent, focused, different. Now in the middle of the night, in a forest that didn't remember us. That silence was screaming inside me. Suddenly the bushes stirred. I stepped back. The smell of damp earth filled my lungs, the sound of wet leaves underfoot. Fear, curiosity, and a strange pull, something unexplainable, washed over me. I was being watched, but not just seen. Known, like something could hear my thoughts, my breath. I turned my head. Was it an animal, a dream creature, or just my mind? Then, through the whispering leaves, I heard my mother's voice. "Elif, wake up. Elif, come back." I stepped back, but the trail I came from was gone. The forest was swallowing me, and all that remained were the fears I buried in childhood. Do you know when you truly grow up? It's when you're alone, barefoot, in a forest, after midnight. If you're still listening, then maybe you're searching for a way through the night too. So let me ask you, if you sleepwalked, where would the dark take you? I don't know what changed, but something shifted. I saw 2 glowing eyes in the distance, frozen, watching. A wolf. It didn't move, it didn't blink, it just watched. Like the whole forest was testing me. And this wolf was the test. I didn't run. I slowly sat down and closed my eyes. When I opened them, morning had come. I was just a few meters from the camp. Emily and Lisa were outside calling my name. There was a blanket over me. Did I return on my own, or did something bring me back? I don't know, but what I do know is this. Even though I was asleep, I had seen something real. That night, the forest showed me, I guess, what it means to wake up. Since then, everything's changed. I don't hide from my fears anymore. My sleepwalking isn't a disorder, it's a compass. And I follow where it leads. If this story reached something inside you, you're not alone. Tell me in the comments, have you ever faced the dark and come back changed? Because sometimes the deepest awakening happens in the darkest part of the night. And you? Have you ever sleepwalked and discovered something you didn't know was waiting? I'm Forza, and if you're hearing this, it means I never came back. Not to myself, not to that night, not to the quiet darkness where dreams swallowed me whole. It all started in the woods. It was my first time camping alone. I needed a real escape. Away from the dusty balconies of Istanbul, away from the harsh office lights, away from the cold routine of the morning alarm. My soul was shrinking. I couldn't breathe, and a voice inside me kept whispering, "Go to nature." You know that voice, right? The one deep inside that won't let you rest? Sometimes it's louder than we expect. Where did yours take you last time? Maybe we're not as alone as we think. I searched undiscovered campsites. Hours of forum scrolling later, I found a name no one seemed to know. Karanlıkderesi Plateau. Yes, Dark Stream Plateau. Fitting, isn't it? A retired old man had written about it, rambling, "Who can take us there? Who..." I invite you to the plateau. It will take us so well. Go and stay late. His words didn't make sense, but something about them pulled me in. That night, I sat by the fire as darkness wrapped around me. The silence was deep. The stars danced above. And except for the occasional crack in the woods, the world felt paused. So still, so peaceful. But underneath it all, something was waiting. I didn't see it then, but now I know. Even nature was holding its breath. I crawled into my tent, zipped up my sleeping bag, and around 3 a.m, something happened. My eyes were closed, but my body moved. I, Mia, stepped out of the tent. No shoes, no flashlight, just barefoot, barely dressed, walking in my sleep. It had never happened before. Not as a kid, not ever. I woke up with mud on my feet and a scratch on my knee. But I was back in the tent, safe. I told myself I probably went to pee and forgot. But that was only the beginning. The second night, things got worse. I woke up, not in my tent. I was crouched in the woods, alone, cold. My palms were wet, like I'd dipped them in water, but the ground was dry. And in front of me, a small, white-breasted bird, dead. Beak, missing. Like something or someone had torn it off. Was it me? I thought of that old man again. His wild words, "No one can take us, but it will take us so well." Listen carefully. There are no repeats. I didn't know what to think. I just threw up. Then somehow, I found my way back to the tent, but I had no memory of walking. The third night, the night I didn't return, I woke up in a tree. Yes, high above the ground, barefoot, clinging to branches. The wind touched my skin, my body shook, and when I looked down, the tent was gone. The fire, the trees, even the stars, just fog. And me. I climbed down, my feet pressing into the soft ground. The forest seemed to open up before me, and I walked. I just walked. The leaves beneath me squished like rotten fruit. Wet, software, unsettling. And then a voice. A woman's voice. "You can't find me yet. I won't stay. She walks barefoot. She knows the woods. She's not alone." The words were broken, faint, like static on an old radio. I looked around. Fog, trees, nothing else. Was it me speaking or someone else? Another version of me? That night, I came face to face with myself. At dawn, I was still walking. No tent, no backpack, no phone, no path, just forest. And me? But maybe Maybe I'd already been found. I reached the river, bent down, looked into the water. My reflection stared back, but those eyes weren't mine. I whispered, "Was it you, walking at night, Mia? Do you think someone can become someone else while they sleep? Maybe there's a stranger inside us, or maybe something slipped in. Something with 3 letters and an I in the middle. You can guess what I mean." I found a hut in the woods, old, rotting, ready to collapse. Inside, only one chair and a note. "She will return here when the forest forgets her." What did that mean? If the forest remembers me, will it ever forget? The last night, I chose to sleep. It felt inevitable, like the forest was calling me back. And when I opened my eyes, I saw myself standing there. Same face, same eyes, but empty. She looked at me and said, "You belong to the night." And then everything faded. I closed my eyes and never woke up. Maybe my body is still out there, wandering that forest, and maybe, if you're hearing this, the night is calling you too. So if you ever wake up and your feet don't know where they're going, think twice before turning back. I was asleep, but I'm not alone anymore. I'm Mia, and if I'm telling you this story, it means I'm still not fully awake. This journey began as an escape. 3 months ago, I quit my job. The relationship I was in had drained me. My body kept moving, but my soul had left. So I said to myself, "You need to be alone." I turned off my phone, deleted my accounts, grabbed my backpack, and for the first time ever, I went into the wilderness alone. My refuge? A hidden forest in the Black Sea region, a place not even marked on most maps. Yet it's a good plateau. Almost no one goes there. The road ends. There's no internet. Just deep silence that hums like a living thing. Strange name, right? But old places carry old names. Echoes from ancient people who once called it home. And those echoes still remain. What about you? When was the last time you were truly alone? Maybe we're never really alone. The first night I set up camp, the sky was brilliant. The stars felt close enough to touch. The fire cracked. The night whispered. And for the first time in ages, I felt peace. But not without a strange chill, the kind that creeps in when the quiet is too quiet. Owls called from a distance. Bushes rustled nearby. Something was watching. I told myself, don't be paranoid. But deep inside, I felt an ache, an invisible weight pressing on my chest. At 3 a.m., I didn't wake up. I moved. That's when the sleepwalking began. I woke up inside my tent, but the sleeping bag was wide open. My feet were muddy. Scratches covered my ankles. I'd never sleepwalked before, not even as a child. I whispered, maybe I got up to use the bathroom and forgot. But something inside me told me I was lying. The second night, I went to bed uneasy. I wanted to set an alarm, but there was no signal. Even my watch had stopped. That night, I dreamed of a voice, a woman's voice, deep and distant. Come deeper. When I opened my eyes, my tent was gone. I was beside a stream, my feet in the water, seaweed on my hands, and on my forearm, a word carved into my skin, Pilong. Pilong? To what? I searched for my gear, my camp, the road. Nothing. There was no time in that forest. The clock didn't tick. The sun gave no direction. The wind wandered aimlessly. And from that night on, I woke in different places, each more surreal than the last. The third night, the fog was heavy. Breathing was difficult. Even the trees stood still. No birds, no wind, only silence. But ahead, a building, an old hunting lodge. Its door was open. Inside, a wooden table. And on the table, a mirror. In the mirror, I saw someone else. She looked exactly like me, but her eyes were hollow and her lips moved, still walking, still not awake. Have you ever felt like a stranger to yourself, looked into your own eyes, and felt they belonged to someone else? That night, I did. So I made a choice. I wouldn't sleep. I'd stay awake, sit by the fire, hold still. But even with my eyes open, I stood up and began walking. Can you sleepwalk while you're awake? My mind was aware, but my body was no longer mine. I followed an invisible path down a slope to the edge of a deep pit, 6 meters wide, black as night. Something moved inside. Then I heard my own voice. You can't wake up until you fall in. Did I fall? Did I climb back out? I don't know, but after that, time melted. Day and night blurred. Trees shifted. The moon never left the sky. I was Mia, but I wasn't. Later, I found a clearing surrounded by trees. In the center, a woman. She looked older, but like me. She held a mirror. She handed it to me. And she said, look into this mirror and decide. Go back or walk forever. But the mirror showed nothing, not even emptiness. Only infinity. I close my eyes, and if you're hearing this now, maybe I'm still in that forest. Maybe this is reaching you. In a dream, maybe sleepwalking will come for you too. Just remember, when the forest calls you, you don't choose when to return. If one night you wake up somewhere unfamiliar, write to me. Say, I've walked too. Because maybe we're not alone. I'm Mia. I didn't sleep, but I never woke up either. I just kept walking. My name is Magda. And if I'm telling this story now, it means I survived. But I swear, I never thought I'd make it out of that forest alive. It began as a quiet escape. I was staying in a small wooden chalet on the edge of a dense forest. Its pine-scented walls felt like a forgotten embrace. I had come there to find myself, to get away from the noise of Istanbul, the weight of people's expectations, and my mother's silent gaze. I packed a single backpack, a few books, and my loneliness. The forest was mesmerizing. The trees stretched like arms into the sky. Even the fallen leaves seemed to breathe. There was something ancient in the air, like a memory I couldn't name. But still, there was an emptiness inside me. And when night fell, that emptiness grew deeper. And eventually, it began to move me. I thought I was awake. But it was my body that had moved, long before my mind caught up. I opened my eyes. Moonlight filtered through the leaves. I was lying on cold earth, shoeless, only my socks on, soaked in mud. My lips were whispering something, a lullaby, one my mother used to hum when I was little. How did I get here? I asked aloud. But the forest swallowed my voice. Have you ever woken up somewhere you don't remember falling asleep? Maybe I wasn't alone. That night I followed the moonlight back, found my tracks, returned to the cabin, silent, shaken. The next morning I found a fresh cut on my toe, a thorny branch in my hand. So yes, I had walked, crawled, fallen, but I remembered none of it. The second night, it was like something was calling me. Even with my eyes shut, the trees whispered in my ears. Even the crickets had rhythm. And somehow, I became a part of that rhythm. When I opened my eyes, I was standing on a path I'd never seen before. A deer passed in front of me. It didn't run, it just looked at me, with eyes so calm, almost human, as if it knew me. I kept walking, and that's when I found the hole, filled with torn tents, abandoned gear, but the footprints were fresh. That's when I knew I wasn't the only one walking at night. Why do people sleepwalk? Is it the soul escaping the mind? Each night, I went further. Each morning, my body was colder, my feet heavier. One night, deep in the pines, I heard the sound of a bell. Software metallic, like a child's bicycle. I turned around. No one. Only an old, rusted bike, covered in moss, and a note hanging from the handlebar. If you wake up, you die. Another night, I woke up by a pond, soaking wet. But when I looked into the water, my eyes were already open, and I was smiling, only it wasn't my smile. It was me, but not me. Soon I couldn't find my way back. The paths vanished, the trees became strangers, every sound felt familiar, but somehow wrong. It was like something else was using my eyes, a second version of me, and she knew the night well. Have you ever heard a voice inside you, one that doesn't feel like yours? That night, the moon disappeared. The sky turned black, and I couldn't stop moving. My legs were no longer mine, my eyes were closed, but each step felt intentional. I arrived at a cave, without falling, without choosing a path, as if something had guided me, like a dog drawn by scent. That's sleepwalking, isn't it? Or maybe something deeper, a third eye, seeing what open eyes can't. I stepped inside the cave. The stone walls were covered in symbols, ancient, not man-made. Something was waiting for me. I felt it. I know it, and then I woke up. If I hadn't, I don't think I would have returned as myself. The next morning, I left the forest, but the forest never left me. Now every time I close my eyes, I see moonlight on the water, and I hear that voice again, calling. Some of us don't just sleepwalk. We run from the past. I've come to believe my sleepwalker was a part of me. A little girl named Elif, still lost, still searching. She wasn't trying to leave. She was trying to bring me back. Why do you think we sleepwalk to certain places? Maybe it's not the body that chooses, but the soul. Maybe someday I'll return again.